Hello everyone, it's Richard Lewis here again with another video. Today, I just want to quickly record something before I actually do a live stream because this refresh stuff is kind of getting a little bit out of control. And today, they've just announced something that I told everyone was coming in January. If you check out my previous videos in this channel, if you just type refresh Richard Lewis, you'll find them as well. But we'll take a look at that announcement, but that is not what this video is about. This video is actually going to demonstrate that Refresh are treating you like you're stupid, and they're treating me like I'm stupid. I take a special offense at that, because what they're saying is that they don't own multiple teams, they're just a media rights company, etc., etc. Well, I'm going to show you documented proof that they are lying in this video. But let's just start kind of with why today. Why am I making it today? Well, okay, they've just done a big announcement. All right, here it is here. They've just done a big announcement about they're going to have their own tournament circuit, right? And I told you in January this is what they were planning to do. They've resurrected the Blast brand, which is an old school Danish brand that's been around for a while, and they're going to start like what they call a world tour, and it's going to be at the Royal Arena in Copenhagen in November. The Blast Pro Series, $250,000 prize pool, and it's going to be 6 invited teams. Well, I wonder who's going to get invited to that. I mean, you know, there is a chance, I suppose, they don't invite any other Refresh teams. Would seem somewhat counterproductive if they did that, but let's hope, because I don't want conflicts of interest to exist within esports. Now, look, I shouldn't need to repeat this, but a lot of people don't fucking get it. I mean, they really don't. So I'll say it again. You cannot have one company own multiple teams that compete in tournaments. Why not, Richard? Well, you can't have that because it can restrict player movement. Indeed, as I've shown before, the Refresh contracts actually are very restrictive in terms of where players can and can't go. And the key thing here is that if it was ever beneficial for one of these teams to lose to the other team, say, for example, in a tournament where one team's already qualified and the other needs to beat the other to qualify, who's to say the fucking puppeteer isn't just going to go to both teams and say, okay, we're going to rig the outcome of this match because we pay all your fucking, we pay your checks, we sign your checks, you know what I mean? And people are saying, oh, but that would never happen. It's happened in fucking real sports. Why would esports be immune? Right? So we need to establish some ground rules and make sure that doesn't happen, and say very clearly right now, you cannot own multiple teams. Nobody's going to tolerate that. Now, we, sir, have tried to take a stand against this, and again, I might not be a huge fan of the WISA project, mainly because of who's involved with it, but they've got a few things right, and this is one of them. And WISA, like I say, the World Esports Association, they have said that if you want to take part in ESL tournaments, you cannot own multiple teams. You cannot do it. And this was the announcement when they made it. And when they made it, as reported here on Slingshot by Vince Nairn, Refresh said, yep, we will absolutely adopt those regulations regarding multiple team ownership. We're going to completely abide by them. Okay, fantastic. Shouldn't be a problem then. But let's just dig a little bit deeper. So there was a report as well in the Danish publication BT. I'm going to just show you this. And what it said was that they weren't ready, the Danish Sports Association here, were not ready to recognize esports as a mainstream sport. This is the Danish Sports Federation, DIF as it's called, and they said we're not going to recognize esports as a sport because we've got some concerns about it. So think about this. This is a time when across the globe, everyone else is recognizing, you know, esports, and people are investing in it. Well, in Denmark, which has this ridiculous understanding of esports, super small population, but very engaged in esports, big events, lots of attendance and lots of interest, the Danish Sports Federation will not recognize esports as a sport for a few reasons. Now, one of the reasons they named is they have concerns about multiple team ownership, which obviously would be forbidden in sports. So this got written up, and again, I'll read you some of the quotes. Fortunately, Slingshot have been covering this because people just seem to ignore everything I say these days, which is fine, I guess. So Refresh Entertainment might be one of the reasons the Danish Sports Federation won't recognize esports as a sport. And you can see here, they said here, the reasons for that were that they don't think the teams have worked hard enough yet. I don't know what the fuck that means. That's ignorance right there. Then they said ethical concerns about, oh, it's a game where you shoot people. Also really fucking stupid. And they said they had a concern that esports in Denmark is commercially run, not operated democratically, which is contrary to the DIF's work against match fixing. So again, sharing the concerns that I've just outlined for you there. And he said there's one company that owns several teams, which he says is deeply irresponsible. Who could he possibly mean, I wonder? So you can see here, this is Zeno. He's an old school Danish guy. He translated this and gave his views on Twitter about it. And he said, in case it isn't obvious, the chairman is talking about Refresh Entertainment that owns stakes in teams like Astralis, Heroic, and Godsent. His words, not mine. Because as you're going to see here, Refresh came out when asked for comment. And you can see here, Steen Lawson said, I don't see the DIF person referring to Refresh as he is specifically talking about owning more, meaning multiple teams, which we do not. The discussion about national associations defining esports as sports or not is not really relevant to us. So there you have it, an actual out-and-out denial that they own multiple teams. They've denied it, right? Well, they're fucking lying. They're lying. And I'm going to show you they're lying. There's a website you can go to. And this is the problem for them. When you want to do things legitimately, guess fucking what? We can trace it legitimately. Now, if you go to this website called cvr.dk, it's the registry for all of the companies that operate in Denmark. And you don't have to have financial statements published in English or anything, but you've got to have all of your documentation up there, and you've got to show any changes in ownership, right? So let me just show you who owns Astralis, okay? Because Astralis is the big front and center team for Refresh, isn't it? That's what we know. So look, here it is here. Says it's Refresh APS, and it's co-owned alongside City Forest APS, which I believe is the company that the players have founded. Now, this is the ownership stake, Gerandel, and Stemmeret Egede means voting rights. So you can see here they own between 50 and 66.66% of Astralis, but their voting rights exceed that, giving them 66 to 89.99% voting rights. And it's down here for City Forest. You can see they own 25 to 33%, and then blah, 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 blah. So I imagine this number here is split into smaller percentages among each player. So that's what it says. I mean, regardless of that, Refresh own the majority of Astralis. Fandabidozi. So look, if you search for Heroic IVS, Heroic, another team that Refresh say, we own the image rights for this team. Okay, we own the image rights for this team, that's all. I've cut out all of the names of the managers and founders because it's got their addresses in there and shit. But you can go look for this yourself if you're determined, but I just didn't want any trolls, you know, fucking sending hate mail to people or whatever. But look, legal owners. As of last month, okay, the date of the change was the 7th of June. Refresh APS owns a 66 to 89% of share capital, percent of voting rights, and here it is in Danish. So you can see I haven't doctored that. This is literally you know, without Google Translate on there, so you can see the original. It's exactly the same as the above. 66.67, 89.99. Voting rights, 66.67, 8999. So, at the bare minimum, they own Astralis and Heroic. So they do own multiple teams, don't they? And them saying that they don't is what we call, in journalism at least, lying through your teeth. So I've got some problems with this, because they're publicly saying, hey, we don't own multiple teams. Meanwhile, on paper, you do. I mean, you can't even hide your tracks here. You haven't created shell companies or anything like that. This is just easily provable that you're lying. So, you know, sorry to rain on the parade of the big announcement about the tournament circuit, right? But we've now got to be very clear about what this means. And I would urge all tournament organizers to say, if Astralis is at the tournament, as things stand, Heroic can't be at the tournament. Or vice versa. You take your pick. And I will be watching with great interest if this new tournament announcement, if we see some of those names, if we see Heroic and Astralis, because then we're getting into ES Force territory, where you own the tournament and you own the teams at the tournament. I mean, who's to fucking say what sort of shit can go on there? And again, I'm not accusing anyone of corruption. I'm sure these people have their heart in the right place, but I don't give a fuck where your heart is. I give a fuck about the potential for corruption. I give a fuck about people lying, and that's what's happened here. So this is just me laying this out so people can see it. And again, I urge you, go check it for yourself if you don't believe me. This is a documented fact that Refresh own both of those teams at least. And therefore, for me, they shouldn't be competing at any tournaments together. And if they're allowed to, then I think we're allowed to sort of speculate about what that all might mean. We need to stamp this shit out. And honestly, as you can see from the statement from the DIF, which is pretty ignorant across the board, this type of shit is actually hindering esports. They'll be out there, Refresh, talking about, oh, we love esports, we want the growth of esports. You're actively hindering it being recognized as a fucking sport in your own country. Stop with this nonsense. Sell the fucking rights, choose a favorite team, and stop lying to the public, because it's getting fucking stupid now. It's like the third video I've made about you guys. It's like, you know, you're not the good guys in this scenario. Just stop, please. Anyway, there you go. There's the proof. Again, I urge you to go check it for yourself. But Refresh definitely own at least 2 teams. And therefore, this definitely causes some concerns moving forward. Anyway, there you have it. See you on the next video.